Are you ready to take control of your life and join a community of like-minded women who are on a mission to live their best lives too? Healthier, happier, and wealthier? Then get ready to find the support and motivation you need to pursue your passions and goals. Get ready to develop the courage to step out of your comfort zone and try new things. Join the My Best Life Tribe membership today and unlock a world of opportunities, empowerment, and sisterhood. Our exclusive community offers courses, collaborations, workshops, events, and so much more. Don't wait any longer to start living your best life. Visit our website, www.DrStem.com, and become a part of something truly special. My Best Life Tribe, where women thrive together. www.DrStem.com.
Are you ready to bounce back?
Welcome to the Bouncing Back podcast with Dr. Stem, where resilience meets inspiration. Join us as we explore powerful stories of overcoming adversity, share expert insights, and discover the tools you need to bounce back in life. Whether you're facing challenges or seeking motivation, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
And we are back live. All right, girl. You good?
I'm good. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you clearly.
You know, Sam, I know this is about to be a powerful conversation with you. I can feel it.
And the devil is a liar, right?
That's right. That's right.
Let me tell you, even the conference itself is going to be something else. Anyway, let's go ahead and start this. Welcome to our first live. That's why, you know what? I was singing the other day. I don't know if you saw it, Shwanda. I was singing the other day, and I said, I learned this when I was young. Try again. If at first you don't succeed, try again. I didn't know that it was going to be a theme song this week, that I'm going to have to sing again today. So thank you for coming back. And to all of you that are watching us live or will be watching us, after this live, I want to welcome you to this Sunday's live with my friend and also colleague, Coach Shwanda Barnette. So once again, welcome, Shwanda.
I'm so happy to be here. You don't know this, Dr. Stem, but I have something I call Soul Care Sundays. So Sundays are my day to really think and reflect and focus, map out my week, and think about how I'm going to show up and walk in my purpose. So I think it's serendipitous that we're doing this on a Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have you come back because today I want to talk about the passion, but I want to hear how you do that. So we're going to have to come back and talk about self-care Sundays or even wellness in general, because you and I do trainings on wellness, right?
That's right.
So, So to all of you, here are some questions for you if you're watching us today. Have you ever wondered, how do I find my purpose? How do I find a peace of mind? How do I get to do what I love without stressing and still get paid? How do I get financial freedom, right? How do I find happiness? How do I find joy and peace? It all starts with finding your purpose. And this is what Coach Shwanda Barnette is going to be talking to us about, finding your purpose. Today, it's possible for you to start over again, because there will be people that are saying, well, you know what? I wish I was young to find my purpose. Yes, it is possible to find your purpose. Let me tell you a little bit about Shwanda. Shwanda is the 3-time author of the Bounce Back books that we started 3 years ago. Yes, girl, bounce back. I like that. She is also a speaker for those of you that are coming to the UK. She is also a speaker who's flying out with me from here in the United States. We're coming to the UK with Shwanda. She's one of our speakers. I'm so excited. And most of all, I go around the country and world traveling with Shwanda. We do wellness trainings together. So she is my partner. That when you see us doing trainings and you see the two of us, you are bound to, be transformed in our trainings that we do. So I'm excited to have you as a guest today, Shwanda. I know when I started off, I said, do you want to just tell a little bit about the people? She's like, Stem, listen, it's not about my accolades. It's
That's right.
about it's about the topic. So okay, we're gonna go right into the topic. We're talking about finding your purpose. So here's what I want to know from you. What does finding your purpose mean to you personally?
Well, Stem, let me tell you a little story.
Okay.
I was one of those people who always knew that I was here on this earth for something great. I never knew what exactly it was or how to figure that out. I was one of those kids who every year for career day I came with a different career. One year I'm a lawyer, one year I'm a doctor, one year I'm a real estate agent. Every year I'm coming with a different career. So I never knew if career was going to be the way that I found my purpose, but I always knew I was here for something greater.
Yeah.
And so when I got pregnant with my daughter, I was at that weird place in my career where I wasn't quite sure which direction to go in. I felt so much uncertainty.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, am I ready? Like, are we ready to have a baby? I'm looking at my husband. I'm like, you feel ready? Are you ready to do this? And I remember speaking about it to one of my mentors. And he gave me this beautiful, beautiful way of looking at babies and how we come into the world. And he said, life is just a continuous cycle, souls coming and going, coming and going. And he said, I like to believe that a soul looks down on the earth and sees the condition of humanity and says, I think I can do something to help. They look at the mess that we're in down here and they say, I want to go down, I want to make a difference, I want to do something to help. And so they go through the process of, choosing who are the people I'm going to come through, who's the mom I need, who's the dad I need, what are the circumstances I need to do this thing that's going to help humanity move along a little bit closer to where we ought to be. And they come. And during that process of childbirth, all the trauma of being in the womb and coming through into this world, they forget, we forget all you have to work with is the tools that a baby has to work with when you come.
Yes.
And so I
Yes.
believe that the whole process of life and living is about getting to the place of remembering why you came. Like, what are we here for? What are we supposed to do? What impact are we supposed to make on the world to make it a better place? And when my mentor said to me, your baby chose you. Your baby knew that
Mm.
you and your husband were the ones that were supposed to bring her into this world to do the things she's supposed to do. It changed everything for me. So instead of being afraid, instead of thinking I wasn't ready or didn't have the resources, I said, I want to be the person and do the things that I need to do to make sure that this little person can live in her purpose and make her impact on the world. And that's what I think it's all about. We
Yes.
get caught up in
Yes.
thinking that our purpose is about our career or what we do, but really it is, what is the unique thing that I bring to this human experience that can help advance others along the way?
Wow. There's so much that you said in
Yeah.
there. And I think also as a parent, right? Because
Hmm.
then, to think of it in that way that this child or these children chose me and, my partner for them to come through us for a purpose that
That's
is
right.
ordained for
That's
them
right.
to do on this earth. It changes the whole thing because now it's not about you as a parent. It's about you just making it possible and make the provisions for this person to, serve their purpose.
And
Interesting.
it has a profound effect on the way that I parent because I don't have
Yeah.
a vision for what she's supposed to do when she grows up now.
Yes.
Whatever it is that she's
Yes.
supposed to do, I want to give her the tools to explore, to figure it out, but I don't try to control any of it. My husband and I both are writers. We think that she will be a writer and that she should be a writer. And we tell her that, but it's no
Yes.
pressure. Like, we think in some way, somehow you're going to write, but pursue whatever career you want to do that's going to get you there
Yes.
because you will figure out what you're here to do. And we just
Yes.
want to help. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, can you share a moment or an experience that helped you discover your own purpose?
So I'll tell you, Stem, ever since I was a little person, I was
Yeah.
always sticking up for the underdog. I was always,
Mm.
I hated bullies and I was always trying to advocate. And I'm 4'11", okay? I'm just little thing. I can't really fight or do anything like that to defend anybody. But with my words, and
Yes.
actions, I always wanted to be there for people who were disadvantaged or who were treated less than.
Mhm.
And I remember thinking, believing that that meant I was supposed to be a lawyer. So I
Mm.
went to law school, and I'm in my first year of law school, and I'm miserable. Okay, so I'm miserable. I'm like, I don't feel it. I don't
Yeah.
understand how this is going to be the opportunity for me to do the thing that I think I'm here on earth to do.
To do.
It didn't fulfill me in the way that I thought working towards advocacy as a lawyer would do.
Yeah.
And then I had the great advantage while I was in law school in my
Mm.
second year of applying and it being accepted into a clinic that sent law students into DC public schools to teach a law class to high school
Uh-huh.
students. So we're
Oh,
going into some of the, toughest schools in the city, and we're going and we're teaching
yeah.
this class to the law. So we're teaching them their rights. We're teaching them how to navigate law enforcement. We're
Hmm.
teaching them about all of the things that they need to do to get from high school to the next level into adulthood. And I remember being terrified. I had never taught before. I wasn't a teacher. I was only a couple years older than most of my students. If
Yeah.
they were 18, I might have been 22, 23. And
Yeah.
so I was terrified. But I
Mm.
remember walking into that classroom that first day and looking into the eyes of those students and getting to know them. And I had this thing where I only called my students Mr. and Miss by their last name, because I said, if nobody else in this world makes them feel respected, I'm going to make them feel respected.
Yeah.
And as I respected them, they showed up in my classroom with respect. And week after week, I'm thinking, this is my purpose. Like, I am supposed to teach. Like, somehow, some way, whether it's coaching, whether it's facilitating trainings, I knew through that experience that advocacy for me was going to come through teaching people how to advocate for
Yeah.
themselves.
Mm.
And so that was, I think, the moment when I started to refine and think about, okay, this is what's on my spirit. This is what I'm supposed to do, but these may be the tools and the avenues through which I do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Mine is interesting because then how I found my purpose is my parents continuously telling me that I was talkative. From
I can relate, as you can imagine. I can relate.
they told me I was talkative from the time that I remember when. So we would drive from the city in Harare to go to Gweru, Kwachundura. That's where our village is, right? So we would go on holidays or school holidays. And when we are in the car, everybody else is sleeping and they're quiet. Not Stem. She's talking and I'm asking questions and we're looking out the window and I'm asking, so what is that? And the cows, what are they doing? And my mom and dad both said, oh my goodness, will you ever be quiet? You're talkative. That's how I found my purpose. I'm talkative.
That makes a lot of sense. And you were inquisitive, you wanted to gain the knowledge and know all the things. I can relate.
I
I
wanted
can
to
relate.
gain the knowledge and know, what is going on. But I am so happy because now I help people to be
Yes.
grounded in who they are, inspire them to literally find their purpose, live their purpose and passion, and just have the best life that they can have, right?
And STEM, one of the greatest tools you use to do that is through asking questions, right?
Yes,
Isn't that one of the greatest tools? So you've
yes,
always been inquisitive. You've always wanted
yes.
to understand how things work and know them. And now you use the tool of asking questions to get there. I can completely relate to that.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Whoa. So, how important is self awareness whilst we're talking about that in the journey of discovering your purpose?
Wow, that's a great segue from the previous question, because honestly, we have no way of knowing what we're here to do until
Yeah,
we take the time to know who we are, you know?
yes,
And it amazes me sometimes how people will go through their entire lives without sitting down and taking the time to get to know, who am I really? What makes me tick? What are my skills? What are my strengths? What am I passionate about? The fact that so many people don't take the time to do that self work really keep some of us from ever getting to the place of understanding what our purpose is. So that's step one. I think in order to really think about why you're here, have to think about who you are. What tools did you bring with you? You know how you see little kids sometimes that you say, oh, that's an old soul. Like, they've been here before,
yes,
right?
yes,
They brought
yes.
some tools with them, right? To
Yeah,
do the work that they're supposed to do. And so we have to take the time to think about, what have I always been? From the time I was a child, I was inquisitive. I talked a lot. I asked the questions. Who have I always been? And how does that relate to what I might be able to do in this world? And anybody who feels like they're in a place of just not knowing why they're supposed to be here, I say that's the first step. Take some time to sit down and journal. Take some time to meditate, to rest, to just be quiet in your own quiet space alone. Take some time to really be open to receive the downloads, that the
yeah,
universe has for you, to really understand why you're here and what you're supposed to do, how you can help others.
yes. Thank you for that. So, as you were talking, right, I was thinking, here's the thing. self-awareness, is something that is possible for all of us to learn, right?
That's
But do
right.
you think that it is challenging when we were young and you're told what to do, who to respect, how to act? I mean, did that make it a little bit challenging? Because now that I'm older and I have done the work and continue to do the work, there are certain things that are no longer helping me in my journey to self awareness. Have you found that as well whilst you're doing this work?
So, STEM, as a child of immigrants,
Yes.
you
Oh,
know
me
that
too.
I understand everything that you're saying. I know all about the be seen and not heard, stay out of grown folks' bit, all the things that we tell kids that we, use to kind of keep a child in their place and stifle them from really learning how to hear their own voice. You
Yes.
know, we stifle them from learning how to understand what they believe versus what somebody else is telling them that they should believe. And so it's the responsibility of all of us to do that work, right?
Yes.
How we can't help how we've been raised, but I guarantee that how we were raised gave us the tools that we needed to navigate this
Yes.
world to fulfill our purpose. So we
Yes.
take the tools, we take the good, what they say, we take the meat and throw away the bones. We
Hmm.
take the good of what we learned in our childhood and the things that we received that help us navigate the world. And now it's our responsibility as adults to figure out the rest.
Yes.
I started going to therapy and coaching from a very early age in my adulthood. From the time I was in my early 20s, I recognized that there was some unlearning that I needed to do. I
Yes.
recognized that there were some patterns that I was repeating in my relationships and my friendships that weren't serving me and that were causing me pain. And I said very early on, before I'm ready for a partner, before I'm ready for motherhood or any of those things, I need to start doing the work. And I worked with a young lady early in my 20s named Tiffany Ananda, an amazing coach who took me through the process of really exploring and discovering who I am. And what we
Yes.
found was after 12 sessions of like deep, intensive, childhood trauma releasing, all of that, that at the core of me, I'm love. You know what I mean? I want to love people. I want people to love me. I want to be able to exist in this world and operate out of a place of love, not fear, not anger, none of those things. So
Yes.
that was the very first step at 25 years old and figuring out what my purpose was. But I had to do the work of figuring out who I was before I could start to think about how am I supposed to show up for others. So I encourage everyone listening, if
Yes.
you haven't begun that journey, now is the time. Like you said, Sam, it's never too late to start the work of really understanding self and really becoming more self-aware to understand how we show up in the world.
And I'm excited that you mentioned the 12 sessions. For all of you that are listening, listen, there's something called EAP in your job. I don't
That's
care where
right.
you work in the world, it's called Employee Assistance Program. Take advantage of it. That I just
Mhm.
want to do some self-awareness work because it's actually employee assistance program, right? That they tell you that it's for mental health, counseling services. And a lot of people say, well, I don't want to be, seeing a therapist, for mental health. Many
Mhm.
of us therapists are also coaches. So we are
That's
the
right.
ones that will do that within your 6 sessions, 3 sessions, 12 sessions. Come to us and use that EAP. It's free to you. So you get from 3 sessions to 24 sessions. I've seen companies that give 24 sessions and you can do the grinding of the work. Who am I? What do I want to do? What is my purpose? And that is the work that we can do, with you as well with using your EAP. Just wanted to say that out there because a lot of people are like, well, coaches are really expensive. Well, there's another way around of literally working with the same expensive coach. You can work with the same expensive coach for $0. Use your employee assistance program EAP and just call them and say, you know what, I just want to go through and do self-awareness, or self-care with my coach. And then we get to talk about the nitty-gritty of who are you and who you really want to be on this earth. Coach, didn't mean to
Sam, I love that
segue.
plug. I love that plug for
I didn't mean to
EAP.
segue. Yeah, because
No,
then,
it's fine.
people,
I've
right?
used EAP at every organization I've ever worked for, every single
Yes.
one. And I've worked in many places, probably 10 since I graduated law school. And I used to work at the mall, STEM. I
Yeah,
worked at the mall and they
right?
had an EAP program. It's in
Yep,
your employee benefits.
it
Take the
is.
time to look through what they offer online or in a packet or whatever. And just know that EAP is a service that's available to you probably wherever you work, from McDonald's all the way up to the top corporation. So
You're right.
take advantage of it.
I tell people, when they say, I say, how much do you make? They say, they only pay me $10 an hour. I said, no, they're not paying you just $10 an hour. There's $10 an hour. There's also another $12,000 in addition to that. That is a
And
free
benefits.
EAP in benefits that you're not using. So when you calculate that, you're probably getting at least $30, $40 an hour. But oops, you're not using the rest of the
Mhm,
money, right?
mhm,
So yeah,
mhm.
don't get me going with that, because I'm very passionate about that, and I want to make sure that people are taken care of and they take care of themselves as well
That's
as their
right.
well-being. So what are some common misconceptions that people have about finding their purpose?
I think a lot of people think that their purpose is something that they do.
Hmm.
And I believe your purpose is something that you are,
You
right?
are.
That you
Yes.
live, that you walk in every day, that you embody. I believe that once you find your purpose, you will recognize that you are bringing it to all the work that you do, all of your relationships, to parenting, to romantic friendships, all of those things. So that's the reason why my coaching business is around becoming. Because I
Yes.
feel like from the time we're born, we're all becoming something. And the
Yes.
work of finding your purpose is really figuring out how to become what it is that you ultimately are here to do. I
Yes.
think another common misconception, I don't know, Stem, if you've seen the Disney Pixar, or I don't know if it's Disney, but the Pixar movie Soul. It's an
So
animated film called Soul. I love
I'm
Soul.
gonna watch
I've
it.
probably watched it over and over and over again. And what I
Yes.
love about Soul is that there's this man who's a musician, and he thinks that his life's purpose is to be a big time star, for everybody to know him. And right now he's a middle school music teacher, right? So he feels like, yeah, I'm not living my purpose. Every day I come and I go, and he's depressed. He just kind of comes and goes
Mm,
every day. And he's living life thinking, I'm not doing enough.
yeah.
And then serendipitously, he manages to land the biggest gig of his life, where he's going to perform with this huge jazz star. And it's his first time to really show who he is and what he can do. And on that day, he falls in a ditch and almost dies, right? So the whole movie is about him trying to get back into his body so that his soul separates from his body, and he's trying to figure out how he can get back into his body so that he can have this moment in a lifetime, this once in a lifetime moment to perform and be a part of this experience. Instead, he gets it, and
Mm,
when he gets it, he realizes this isn't it
that's
at
not.
all. That's not, like, for doing something is not my purpose. I was
Yes.
living in my purpose all along. The way I talk about music and how passionate I am about it, and the way I pour into children and give them an opportunity to be passionate about music too,
Yes.
and the way that I everybody that I come in contact with, that's who I am.
Mm,
That's my purpose. And once he really rediscovered through that near death experience what his purpose was, he did life differently. Now I'm going to go back and look for that girl that I once loved, that I pushed to the side because I was pursuing my purpose.
my
I'm going to go
purpose.
back and look for those relationships that I let fall by the wayside, because all of this that I said I was doing in pursuit of my purpose was really blocking me from realizing that I was always walking in my purpose. So I think that's one of the common misconceptions. We think that, I work for this nonprofit and we're saving the world and that's my life purpose. No,
Yeah.
it's great that you get to work in a place where what you believe is aligned with what you do for a living. That should be everybody's goal. But at the end of the day, everything that you bring to the work you do is you living in your purpose. The job doesn't give you the purpose.
Powerful, powerful. How do societal expectations affect, the way that we also pursue our purpose?
Well, STEM, I don't want to get on a tangent talking about social media and
But
how social media's expectations change the
yeah.
way that people see how they are supposed to show up in the world. People are saying
Hmm.
that person's traveling all over the world and they have money and they have this. Why
Yeah.
don't I have that? And you start to think of, why am I not living in my purpose and then living out all these things? And what I have found from almost every successful person I've ever spoken to, I had the opportunity this year to have a sit down with the New York Times, multi New York Times bestseller author, Levy Ajayi Jones. And she said, I never ever approached any of this trying to be famous, trying to be rich, trying to be wealthy. She said, I woke up every day and I walked in my purpose. And whatever doors that God saw fit to open for me to have the platform I have, He opened them when I was ready. Right. So it was
Yes.
never about having money or traveling the world or any of those things. All
Yeah.
I'm doing is what I was put on this earth to do. And if
Hmm.
a platform comes with that, so be it. But
Yes.
if there was no platform, I would still be doing what I'm supposed to do. And
Yeah.
you find that with so many successful people, like it's not about having the money so that you can get on Instagram and make people jealous and any of that. It's not about it for that. It's about really discovering like what makes me tick. What am I passionate about? When I wake up in the morning, what's that thing that if I don't do it today, I won't feel right? You know,
Yes.
that's what it's really about. And
Yeah.
when you discover what that is, all those societal pressures and those all of that fall by the wayside. That's
Yeah.
why I call myself the uncertainty coach, because I believe that when people get to that place where they just don't know what to do next, where they feel stuck, they think uncertainty is about being stuck,
Yeah.
but
No.
really it's like the pathway to freedom.
Mm,
When you realize that you don't know what's going to happen next, and that's okay, that every moment counts and living in the moment is really where freedom begins. That's where my work, with the coaching begins. And so I
begins.
love the idea of people feeling like, I don't know how to get where I want to go. I feel like I'm not there. I'm uncertain about what the future holds. I thought I was going to be somewhere else by age, boop, boop, boop. I love
Mm-hmm.
working with people like that because then we could say, okay, so let's cast away all of those societal norms and the pressures and
Yeah.
everything that you thought you were supposed to be. And let's take a moment to celebrate who you are,
Yeah.
where you are, what you're doing, and how what you're doing now is going to lead to what you want to do next. And that's the work of becoming.
You mentioned a name that is so sweet to me. God.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, let me tell you, I was one of those kids that would run and wake up early to go to Sunday school when I
Yeah.
started. I was one of those kids that ran to go to the youth meetings and youth clubs, right? Because I loved the Lord and I believed with all my heart that He said, I have plans for you, and I didn't want to miss. The direction that he wanted me to go. So as a
Mhm.
result, I have been passionate about, God's way and doing things God's way, that my
Mhm.
purpose has been easy because then I know that it's ordained and the steps are ordered. So I love that you are doing work where you help people that are in that valley, we call it, right? Where they're in the valley and everything doesn't seem to be working out and everything seems blurs, and then they are just one session away from meeting the right person that will ask
Mhm.
the right questions in order for them to get the right direction. So I love that about the work that you're doing, and the answer that you just gave. As far as social media, I think it is here to serve more than it
Mhm.
is here to hurt,
That's
right?
right. That's
But
right.
it depends on the direction. Everything is about perspective, I think, right? So if we look at it as a thing that I want to be like that person and I don't know what they're doing and how they've done that, then sometimes we get a miss. But if I want to
Yeah.
learn how they're doing it and also allow myself time to do what we're doing today, experiment and see if it works. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, we learn and we come back again. I think it helps, us grow, as well. So there are, yes, pluses and minuses, as far as social media is concerned. And we could have a whole, session with that as well. But
Well, one thing I'll say about social media is that
yeah,
you're not powerless in designing your experience. That's the one thing
yes,
I love about social media. You
yes,
choose your experience. The more
yes,
that you seek after, the more comes to you. For anybody who follows me on social media, STB coming yoked, anybody who follows me, you know that you're going to get a flurry of inspirational quotes and, positive mantras and all of these things every day because that's what my algorithm looks like.
yeah,
Because I'm seeking out people who are writers, who are giving positive messages every day they come, and I'm getting more and more positive messages. So I create that algorithm. I don't see who's living large. I don't see who's doing X, Y, and Z. What I see is people who are trying to pour into others and make the world a better place. So you can create your social media experience to be like that. And you
yes,
can choose to see what others are doing and see it as inspiration rather than having envy and jealousy. That is an opportunity for you to do some self work and figure out, what makes you feel bad when you see others doing or having what you don't, so
yeah,
that you can become who you want to be and do the things that you want to do.
yes, yes. So the word purpose and passion, they are usually used, in synchronicity, right? So I'm wondering, what part does passion play into finding your purpose?
So I believe that passion is your spark, right?
Ah,
Passion is that thing that when you're doing it, you just feel like you're in the flow,
yeah,
For STEM, for you and I, it's talking. We can sit here and talk all day. The people aren't going to listen all day,
Talkative.
but we can talk all day. So when we're vibing,
Yep.
when I get with my friends, my intellectual friends like you, Dr.
Yes.
STEM, and others,
Yep.
we can
Yep.
talk all day and all night, and everybody's like leaving the table. They're like, we're done with this conversation. Like, it's going too long. But for me, when I'm talking, I'm in my flow. I feel
Yeah.
connected. I like
Yes.
to sing. When I sing, I'm in my flow. I can get lost in a song, and I'm just passionate about music. I can get lost in my playlist all day and just be passionate about that. I believe that your passions and your skills and what you're good at, those are the tools you use to carry out your purpose, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of times people get caught up in thinking that their passion is their purpose. And so when that passion disappoints them, then they feel like they have no purpose. Or a lot of people think that they're supposed to monetize
Yeah.
their passions, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like this, I love to sing and I've never gotten paid $1 to sing my whole life. Okay. I sing at churches, I sing at the jazz club, I sing at poetry lounge everywhere. Never received $1 to sing in my whole life. I believe if I started to pursue money for that
Yeah.
passion, I would automatically and immediately stop loving it, right? So it's like every passion we have doesn't have to be monetized. Every passion we
Yeah.
have doesn't have to be what we do for a living. But I do believe that those passions, those sparks, those things that make us tick, those are the things that we bring to our purpose. And sometimes we
Yes.
can monetize our purpose. Sometimes our purpose will bring us to the place where we have all the things we want. I believe you're more likely to have financial success when you're walking in your purpose than you
Mm-hmm.
are when you're just chasing after money and it's not aligned with your purpose. I think some of the
That's
most miserable people we see and know in society are the people who are just chasing after wealth, but they don't actually feel good about what they're doing to get it. So it's beautiful when your passions can align with your purpose, and then that can align with monetary gain. You're living the life, right? Like that's the balance. But I think many people can live out their purpose through their passions without
passion.
ever making $1 off of it, and that's okay too. You have
Yes.
to be happy and comfortable with what it is that you were put on this earth to do. And if when you were up there and you were looking down and you saw what humanity needed, it wasn't for you to be rich, it was for you to do something else, then maybe that's why you're here. And so, like I said, the sooner you get to know yourself and you become aligned with your purpose, then you'll recognize that. And it changes everything about the way you move through the world.
Yeah.
Yep.
My sister and friend Jeanette Moses. You met her at our
Hmm.
third Bounce Back conference. If
Oh,
she
yes.
was listening, which I'm not sure if she's up on the live, but if she was listening and I ask her, what next question do you think I'm going to ask Shwanda? Guess what she's going to tell you?
To sing at the conference.
No, I don't want you
No.
to sing at the conference. I want you to sing now because I've
Now.
never heard you sing. Didn't know that's one of the things you do. I didn't know. So,
Yes.
yes, ma'am, Amazing Grace it is. Even one stanza, I've never heard you sing.
I'm going to give you it as well.
Okay. Oh,
When peace like a river attendeth my way, and sorrows like sea billows roll. Whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well, it is well with my soul. Look, I did that for you on the spot. I didn't even plan, I didn't prepare. On the spot. So never say I didn't do anything for you, Dr. Steph.
you made my day. Ah, and indeed, it is well with my
It
soul.
is well. It is
It is
well.
well. It is. Oh, thank you so much. Oh my God, it brings tears to my eyes. Oh my God. What?
Everyone who's listening, Dr. Stem, in this moment, whatever you're going through, I want them to know it is well.
Yes, it is
In this
well.
moment, know that I love
It
you.
is
I
well.
care for you. I want you to be all right.
It
In this
is well.
moment, you are safe and it is well. That's
I
the
got
message.
goosebumps. I got goosebumps. It is well. Oh my. You see, this is why I love doing what I love. I have met many amazing, amazing souls from around the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I am encouraged, empowered, inspired more than I can ever imagine. We just wanted to come here and talk about finding your purpose. We just wanted to come here and incite people to join Shwanda and myself in the UK on September 6, 2025. We are going to be at the Bounce Back Empowerment Conference, and she's one of our speakers at the 6th annual Bounce Back Empowerment Conference. Little did I know that God Himself, the universe, had other plans for us. We didn't plan to sing, but I didn't even know that she can sing. Thank you. And we're going to do this again.
Thank
You're
you.
going to be singing again.
No good deed goes unpunished.
No. We're gonna do this again. We're gonna do this again. And you know what? I joined a group when I was young. I think I was about 12, 13 when I was young. It's called Girls Brigades. It's similar to Girl Guides. Yeah, it's similar to Girl Guides, but it's the Girls Brigades. And you know, our motto was Girls Brigades: sing, save, and follow Christ.
Oh, I love that.
Sing, save, and follow Christ. So I can't sing, but I love music.
That's right.
And guess what? I am blessed to find people that can sing. You know, everywhere I go, I find people that can sing. But you were right under my side for years. I didn't even know. Okay, let me get off that because I'm like, what? Okay, the sing, save, and follow Christ. I said it because I wanted everybody that's watching, that will watch, that guess what? When you find your song, right, or your purpose and passion, it's easier to be prepared. It's easier to just on the wing like that. Just sing and you just do what you need to do. Maybe people will ask you to speak. Maybe people will ask you to sew something, to cook something at an instant. What is your purpose? But mostly, what is your passion?
Stem, everything changed for me when I stopped walking in fear and learned to just say yes. You know, there's a time you would have asked me to do that on the spot. No, I have to prepare. I have to practice. No, whatever comes out of me, whoever it touches, whatever they get from it, that's all that matters to me.
Yes.
You know, and it's like when I started learning how to say yes, to walk through those doors as God opened them, to walk into the opportunities to make a difference in one life that would have a ripple effect and make difference in other people's lives. Like that's what it's all about. So it's like when we get on that other side of uncertainty and the other side of fear, it's freedom. It's freedom. It's like whatever comes, whatever the outcome is, it's going to be working out for my best good. So I don't have to be afraid.
Oh my God. Oh, look at that. We have George Barnette. That must be your husband.
Ah, that's my hubby. The wind beneath my wings.
That is your husband. Hi, Mr. Barnette. He says, sang, girl. Of course he's heard you sing.
All the time.
Sid Maranga gave you a heart, and then Pamidaichi Punza, she's like, amen, amen. Whoa. Okay, let me settle down because the people want to know. The people want to know. What steps can I take? Where can I start to finding my purpose? Can you talk about that?
Absolutely.
Where can they say yes?
So whenever, as a coach, when I'm doing the work of helping someone to find their purpose, we start from a strengths perspective. We do not deal with weaknesses or deficits or anything because we're not operating from a deficit mindset. It's all about the gifts and the tools and the strengths we bring to the table. Yes. So I break strengths down into about 5 categories, and we go through like your physical strength, your emotional strength, mental strength, all these things, right? What you have the capacity to do naturally. The thing you do when you're waking up in the morning and you don't have to try. Some people are analytical minds. You know, we have our thinkers. Those are the people that are going to design apps and do all those things. And they're going to use those strengths to walk in their purpose. We have some people that are so caring and compassionate and loving. And we think about like Mother Teresa and all these people throughout the course of history that dedicated their whole lives to helping others. So we start from strengths. And once we identify what your strengths are, then we start to tie those strengths into our passions, right? We talked about passions a little bit, Dr. Stem. Yes. So we start to think about, this is the thing that I'm really great at, but this is what excites me. This is what gives me my spark, you know? Yes. And I pull all these strengths together to find those spark moments. I went out last night to hear a pianist play. STEM, the whole world was
Mm.
crashing down around this man, and he didn't hear or see any of it because he was in that zone. And you
So,
could tell that there was nothing he was more passionate about than the way his fingers were moving over those keys. And it was marvelous, glorious. I mean, there was noise, there was everything else, and he didn't care about any of that. He just played and played with his eyes closed, played
yes,
and played and played for hours because that's what it's like when you're in that zone. So
yes,
then once we figure out what people get excited about, what the spark is, what gets them in that zone, then we start to practice. Now, how can I show up in the world using these things on a daily basis?
mhm,
And if the work I'm doing isn't aligned with that, that's okay. How can I bring this passion and the way I show up in the world to the work I'm doing right now? Which means, like, if you're in a job that you don't necessarily love or like, and you can't just quit it, we can talk about what you need to do and the steps you need to take to move through the next thing. And I've done that work with a lot of people
yeah,
and have helped coach people into careers and professions that made them happier than the ones they were in. But it really is about thinking about, in this moment, how can I walk in my purpose regardless of the space that I'm in? Because
yes,
what we'll find is oftentimes when people are in misalignment and the things that they're doing aren't in their purpose, it feels that way in every aspect of their lives. That's why I said your passion and purpose is not about what you do for a living, because
yes,
it's going to feel that way in your relationships. It's going to feel that way with your children. You're just going to feel like you're out of alignment in every area. So really, it's finding your purpose is about the work of getting into alignment with what you are and what you're here to do. And I will tell you that I'm a spiritual person, so that
me
comes from
too,
a
me
spiritual
too,
place. I want to be
yes,
aligned with the creator. I want to
yes,
know that what I'm doing is exactly what I was sent here to do. And when I'm out of alignment, I want the creator to make life uncomfortable for me,
yes,
right? So that I
yes,
know this is not your destiny. This is not your purpose. You
mhm,
are simply here to pick up some tools that you're going to take to the next place, but you keep moving.
yes.
One thing I didn't tell everybody, STEM, is that my name, Shwanda, means the wanderer, right?
The
So all
wanderer.
the wanderer. So I feel like I have been wandering through this wilderness called life for 40 plus years in pursuit of my mission, in pursuit of
Yes,
my passion. And every step of the way, I've been picking up the tools and picking up the steps, picking up the accolades and the certifications and all those things to help me do the thing that I was sitting here to do. But every day I pray that I'm walking in my purpose and that if I misalign, that God will realign me and that He will make it uncomfortable for me where I am so that I know that it's time to make the next move.
yes, yes. Thank you for that great answer. And I love the way that you also mentioned that you're a spiritual person, because I
Hmm.
am, as well. So one of the
Hmm.
things that I found, which is interesting that you tell us, what your name Shwanda means, right?
Yeah.
Many of us were given names that have a meaning.
Oh, yeah.
Many of us. And in that meaning, many of us are also able to find our purpose and passion via the names that we were given. My full
Hmm.
name is Stembile, and Stembile means hope. And everything I
I
do
love it.
is to bring hope to those that I serve, and I call it helping other people excel. That's
I
what I
love it.
do, hope. So if you're listening
And
to
STEM,
this,
you have
watching
the
this,
audacity of hope. I tell you, one thing about you when it comes to hope, you believe, you stay hopeful. And that, full disclosure, Dr. STEM is being very humble, but she was my coach. She started out coaching me. And it's helped me to further along in the journey of finding my purpose. And one
yes,
thing about the audacity of Dr. Stem's hope is that she believes it's going to work out. It's going to work out. She believes that there is a higher purpose for
yes,
each and every one of our lives and a higher power that's guiding that purpose, and we're going to get there. So when
yes.
you work with Dr. Stem and you see this audacity of hope, you have no choice but to believe in yourself. Like, you're like, it has to work out. It has to work out.
But
I'll
especially
tell
if
you,
God is in it.
that if God is in it, it has to work out. I'll tell you all a story. I was at a place of uncertainty in my career, and that's how Dr. Stem and I came to be.
Yes.
And I needed somebody to coach me through this dark place of understanding what am I supposed to do. And so it just so happened that a couple of weeks after I started working with Dr. Stem and she started poking at those places that I wasn't willing to budge on, I was ready to fire her. Okay. I was like, yeah, this is tough. And, I know other people who work with Dr. Stem too and have said, man, they were ready to fire her too, but they realized that if they want to fire her, that means that they need to stick with her, right? So I was ready to fire Dr. Stem.
I
And then
know.
I was going on a vacation to Jamaica. And I
Yeah.
tell you all, you all don't know, Jamaica is my happy place. When I'm in Jamaica and my feet touch the ground in Montego Bay, I feel like I'm home. That's my happy place. And so I was going on a trip to Jamaica, and I told Dr. Stem, I'm going to take my laptop and a notebook, and I'm going to spend the time by the beach journaling and trying to apply for jobs and figure out what I would do. And Dr. Stem said, you will do none of that. You will do none of that. You will go on that trip. You will leave all of your devices here. You will completely unplug from the world, and you will enjoy and listen to what God has for you to hear in that moment, and you will have a great time. That's what you're going to Jamaica for.
Yes.
And let me tell you, I was mad at her. I was like, how am I supposed to do this? I was mad, okay? But I did not take a book, a notebook, a MacBook, a laptop. I didn't take anything on this trip. I came with my full self. And Dr. Stem kept telling me before I was going on the trip, while you're on the trip, I want you to listen to Bob Marley's song, Don't Worry About a Thing. Every little thing is going to be all right. He told me 3 little birds. Like, I need you to listen to that song every day that you're on that trip, because I truly believe for you. I am believing for you that everything is going to be all right.
Yes.
Do y'all know when I touched down in Jamaica and I got into the shuttle that was going to take me to the house where I was staying, that the song playing on the radio was Don't Worry About a Thing. Every little thing is going to be all right. And in that moment, I knew that this woman was spirit-filled and that she knows what she's talking about. In that moment, I decided not to ever fire her. And I decided that I was going to take her advice on that trip, and it was the best thing I could have done. But that's the audacity of hope. Dr. Stem is walking and living in her purpose. I have no doubt about that.
Thank you
So
so
I
much.
just had to say that for you, sis, because
Thank
I got
you.
to tell the
Thank
people
you
the
so
truth.
much. And guess what she did? She literally took her phone out and recorded the song playing from was it an Uber or transportation that they were in? She recorded it, and with all of the girls and everybody that was with her, they're singing One Love and Don't Worry About a Thing, right?
That's right.
I mean, there's no other way except to trust and believe. And that's what I help people do, to be able to hold space, for them until they can hold space for themselves. So I'm so glad, and thank you for that testimonial, because also I forgot to tell you all, if you are enjoying this conversation and you want to join a group of women that enjoy having conversations like this, Shwanda is one of our founding members of the Best Life Tribe, My Best Life Tribe. She's one of the founding members that was the first one to say, I want to be a part of it, where we host, weekly. And sometimes we even have our own workshops that we do as women, women that are in transition and women that are in business. But we have these conversations where we also have our cups filled and celebrate each other, as before we get to the Bounce Back Empowerment Conference. So thank you, Shwanda, for being, one of our My Best Life Tribe members. We enjoy having you. And all of you, you are invited. You can visit our website. We have a whole page that will describe to you the amount of work that we do in My Best Life Tribe. www.drstemy.com. That's the website. And you can get My Best Life Tribe information there, as well as join us in the UK. I can't stop. We're going to be in the UK. You already packed, right? Because I know.
You know it.
I know you were ready like in January or something.
I got my luggage. I'm ready to go. I am ready to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one of the things that I know for sure that you and I have discussed, and we also talked about it with the other women, right? Because then they say, well, once I find my purpose, is that it? But, the question to you is, has it evolved for you throughout the years, finding your purpose?
So as I began, I believe that we're all here to do a thing.
Yes.
But I would say that my understanding of why I'm here has evolved, right?
Yes.
So every time I meet somebody new, I get to new coaching, I learn new things and acquire new skills. Now I understand that I can use this spirit, this desire to advocate for others, this desire to help each other, help others get to where they need to go. And I can do this in different ways. I have different avenues, but the purpose has always been the same. The other day I had to write out a mantra, and I would suggest that anybody who's thinking about how to make major changes in their lives, my very first coach I worked with, as I mentioned before, Tiffany Ananda, had me come up with the mantra. And I had to say that mantra every day when I woke up in the morning. I look in the mirror and say that mantra when I'm going to sleep at night. And every single thing that she had me focusing on in that period of time, I was able to acquire and I was able to achieve within years of it, right? So now I have a mantra where every day I have my affirmations that I say in the morning,
Yes.
and I have a personal mission statement. This is my mission. Like every day I know everything I do, if I'm outside of this mission, then that means that I'm living outside of my alignment, right? So my mission statement is on the quest to on the quest for continuous growth
Yeah.
and helping to facilitate that growth in others, I approach every human interaction with courage, curiosity, and compassion. So when I'm interacting with somebody, if I'm not in a space of courage, curiosity, and compassion, then I know I'm out of alignment. So with
Wow.
all the things we have going on in this world, racism, sexism, xenophobia, all these things, the wars, the rumors of wars, everything going on, I have no choice but to look at those things and to look at the people involved with curiosity and compassion,
Yeah.
and to have courage to speak up against things that shouldn't be or that should be different. But I have to be operating in a space of curiosity and compassion for every living being. Because
Yes.
if I'm not there, then I know that I'm out of alignment with my mission and purpose. And my goal and my hope is to help as many people as possible to look at other human beings, to look at humanity with courage and curiosity and compassion. And that is the way that I will help to make the world a better place. So
Yes.
I encourage people to take the time to sit down and figure out, what is that personal mission statement? Who do I think I am? What gives me that spark? What helps me to feel alive? What helps me to feel like I'm making a difference in this world? And how do I distill that into one sentence so that I can have that as my guiding principle every day in everything that I do? And I promise you that if you can have this mantra, this thing that you hold on to, that you say every day, that guides where you are in your life and where you want to be, you will see a change. There's no choice. I have the audacity of hope in the
Yes.
name of Dr. Stem to tell you that there will be change. Where there is life, there is hope. You know, and I
Yes.
believe that you'll see the change.
Yes. So have a personal mission statement,
That's
and
right.
Pamizai Bamuchpunza, she just mentioned as well personal mission statement. She's also one of our three-time bounce back book authors. That is, in there. So hey, Pami, you know, you and I can talk forever.
Yeah.
Yesterday, let me tell you something. Yesterday, I was interviewed on a podcast, and I was asked that, excuse me, if I had a billboard, what would that
Oh,
billboard say? Excuse me. So I want you to think about yours whilst I tell the audience what my billboard will say.
mm,
I'm always about affirmations, as you mentioned. Billboards have helped me when I was driving, when I was down and out and I was hopeless. This whole person, I didn't know what I was doing. But as I'm driving, there were billboards that I would see along the way throughout my life here in the United States. I would see with a message that just resonated with where I was, but helped me to feel better about myself and also to move forward and continue on this path called life, right? So my
mhm,
billboard would say, "Be you, be free,
mm.
become unstoppable."
Oh, I love that.
Be you, be free, become unstoppable, because it is all about who you are and who God created you to be. What would your billboard say? Excuse me.
Ooh, STEM.
I know,
That's
right?
harder than singing on the spot. There's so many things that I think of that I'd want on this billboard, and there wouldn't be enough space. Because we don't know how to shut up. But I would definitely want to have a message on there about mindfulness, right? So be present.
Mm,
Be present. Remember that in this moment you are loved. In this moment you are cared for. In this moment you are enough. My billboard would have to be about forcing people while they're driving on the road, walking down the street, whatever they're doing, to just take a moment to stop and recognize that they are enough. You know, they are victorious, they are undefeated, they are still standing, they are still here. If you can read these words, you've won. You've gotten past the worst of what life has tried to throw at you, and you're still here. So I guess
yes.
that would be present. You are still here. That's what I would have on my billboard. And everybody who's listening to us right now and who will listen to us later when they listen to the replay, I want you to know you're still here. You have
Yes.
a purpose. You came here
Yes.
for a reason. You looked
Yes.
into humanity and you said there's something that they need that they're not getting, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to help them get it. And I
Yes.
always joke that I'm not a very religious person, but very spiritual, and Jesus is my guru. I looked at him and I said, he looked at humanity and he said, they need to learn how to love. They need to learn what it really means to take care of each other. They
Yeah.
need to learn what it means to be a servant leader,
Mm.
to feed others, to wash their feet, to be the person that is humble enough and vulnerable enough to say that I see you and I will help you. I'm here for you. And so that if he could look into humanity and say that's what I'm here for and come and sacrifice himself for us, then that's what I want to do. I want to be able to sacrifice myself for others. I want to be able to say, I'm here, I see you, and you're enough. You're worthy.
Wow. You know what? Listening to you and say all those words reminds me of the Bounce Back Boutique, right?
Oh,
Because
yes.
when I created the Bounce Back Boutique, what I wanted was to have positive, apparel or clothing that one can wear, because every time that I'm wearing like bounce back, yes, I will, it's almost like a declaration that
Yeah.
you know what? I'm going to do this no matter what. It's going to happen no matter what. So everything that you said, I'm worthy, right?
You have a cute little baseball cap that says worthy in the Bounce
And
Back Boutique that I
and
definitely bought for one of my girlfriends. And every time I see her, she's wearing this baseball cap that says worthy. And I'm like, yes, you are. You have a cute little baseball cap that says victorious and undefeated that I bought from the boutique
there you
that I
go.
wear on
There
those
you
days
go.
when I have to remind myself that I'm still
Yes.
standing. No matter what
Yes.
the enemy threw my
Yes.
way, I'm still standing. I'm victorious
Yes.
and undefeated.
Yes.
There's some really great messages. I have a t-shirt for the bounce from the boutique that says free,
Oh, you do
because I
have the
believe
free one.
I do. I have
Yes.
free because freedom is on the other side of uncertainty. So I am telling you that there
That's
are some
true.
very positive messages.
I will also put that link, for all of you to, shop yourself out in Bounce Back Boutique. If you're coming to the UK, we will not have the Bounce Back apparel with us. They are available for you in the Bounce Back Boutique. Again, it's
Hmm.
www.bouncebackboutique.shop, SHOP. Get yours from there, and then wear them at the Bounce Back, Empowerment Conference. So unfortunately, we won't have them with us, but they are, in the Bounce Back Boutique. My dear friend, we have to end this because I planned it for an hour and I can see that we're continuing to speak. If you're listening and you're still here with us, what is your billboard? What would your billboard say? I'm just curious as we are ending this year to see if you had a billboard, what would your billboard say? Mine says, be you, be free. Is that what I said?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Become unstoppable.
that's
I had
right.
forgotten. Yes. So here's the thing that I wanted, for us to discuss before we end. What books, podcasts, or resources can people access for those people that are still trying to find their purpose, or those that are evolving? Because as we
Hmm.
mentioned, it's an evolvement. You can do one thing today and then you do another the next time. Do not stop yourself from evolving. What resources can they tap into, Coach?
Well, I will tell you, there are a number of people walking this earth who've written amazing books who I think are walking in their purpose. I think of Brene Brown and all the work that she's done
Mm,
around shame and
yes.
how much I've received from all of her work. I think about Eckhart Tolle with a New Earth and the Power of Now and everything that I've learned about mindfulness from reading his work. I think about The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho and how much I learned about finding your personal legend and how every experience we have gives you the tools that you need along the way to get to the place of finding your personal legend. So there's so many great books out there. When it comes to podcasts, I love listening to NPR's whole suite of podcasts. I mean,
Mhm.
they have some amazing podcasts. It's not just about politics or the news or what's happening in the world, but support public radio because this is the last frontier of journalists who are getting out there and providing us with information that's honest and true and helps make our lives better. So I would say Tap into all of the NPR podcasts of, This American Life. There's so many of them that I love, but I'm a huge podcast junkie because I believe in being able to hear the life experiences of other people to help
Oh,
shape and
yes.
form how we see the world. And finally, I'm going to tell you, like I told you, I'm not a religious person, but the Bible has the cheat codes. I'm telling you, there's so many powerful, powerful verses that have helped me now that I have a lens that I didn't have growing up when it was just like bogged down in religion and, God being this big, scary thing that was ready to punish us all the time. I'm able to see now that God is love. God wants what's best for us. God said, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and to make sure that you have the good things in life. God said, seek me first and every other thing shall be
Things
added
shall be
onto
added
you. You don't
unto
have to
you.
worry about it all, So it's like there's so many cheat codes for really understanding that when you
Yeah.
can unlock those words and make them real to you and apply them to your life, not what somebody's telling you, but what you can actually hear God telling you and apply to your
Yes.
life, it changes everything about the way that you see the world. And I
Yes.
invite people to know him for yourself. Don't wait for somebody else to tell you who God is. Like, discover God for yourself.
Preach.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we end, I want to invite again all of you that are in the United Kingdom as well as around the world, take a vacation and join
Yeah.
us in Cheshire, UK on September 6th. We're going to be live and my girlfriend is going to be there. She's one of our speakers. So join us in Cheshire, UK on September 6th. Shwanda, what topic are you going to share with the people, by the way?
I am going to be speaking on bouncing back from career disappointment. I know that there are a lot of people
Mm,
right now that are experiencing career disappointment, people who've been in their
mm,
jobs a really long time, and because of disruptions happening all over the world right now, but particularly I'm thinking about my brothers and sisters in the US. But there's all kinds of disruptions right now impacting,
yes.
people's careers. And I want to talk about how we bounce back from that career disappointment into the next journey, to the next phase of our journey that's going to take us towards our passions and our purpose. So, want
Yeah,
to talk to you all
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, you're
Hmm.
right. Because I think also a lot of transitions happened, when administration changed
Oh,
in the
yeah,
United States and changes in other countries.
exactly.
Non-profit organizations that were impacted, people's jobs that were impacted. We're looking forward to your talk because that's going to
Mhm.
have a lot of nuggets to help people
Yeah,
transition. My sister, we will do this again. And to all of you that have been joining us live today, thank you, thank you, thank you. And let me know, is this better for us to bring Bouncing Back live with our guests, or do you prefer it once we pre-record it and share it with you? Let me know what you think about our live that we had today. I had fun. So thank you for being my guest
I
today.
did too. Thank you for having me, Dr. Stem. It's always love.
Much love. Thank you
Yeah.
all. Until next time, be encouraged.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the Bouncing Back podcast with Dr. Stem. We hope you found today's episode inspiring and packed with valuable insights. Remember, no matter the challenges you face, resilience is within your reach. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Join us next time for more stories of strength and perseverance. Until then, keep bouncing back.